What's up and welcome to the video. Today we are talking about a phone that I've actually really enjoyed using for the past few weeks. This is the Pixel 7a. Now obviously by name it's the successor to the 6a, and it's a really good smartphone coming in at $499. So let's talk about how Google upgraded the 7a. So yeah, with a launching price tag of $499, the 7a is $50 more expensive than the 6a whenever that phone launched last year. But don't worry, Google did upgrade some aspects of this phone, so they are at least trying to justify the $50 price hike. And if you're paying attention to the Pixel lineup, Google's got themselves a pretty well-rounded Pixel portfolio, if you will, with the 6a being the low-tier budget, very budget option, which is still available for sale. The 7a is going to take over that pretty well-rounded mid-range category. The 7 and the 7 Pro are obviously going to be your like $700 to $800 flagship devices. And then for those of you with just a ton of money in your pocket that you just don't know what to do with, there is the $1,800 Pixel Fold. So given that the 7a shares some similarities with the 7 and the 7 Pro, I wanted to outline the review by talking about what this phone has in common with its flagship brothers, and then ultimately what this phone differs in and how it's upgraded from last year's 6a. So let's get into the details. Now, as far as what the 7a is borrowing from the flagship siblings, the 7 and the 7 Pro, it ultimately comes down to three things: the design language, the processing internally, and the software that it's running on. So from a design language perspective, I really like the way this phone looks. And it's going with the what I'm going to call Pixel 7 design language, and that everything just looks a little bit cleaner and well built compared to last year's Pixel 6 design language. Now, one thing I did want to point out is, as far as materials go, the 7 and the 7 Pro are going to have Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and the back. The 7a is going to be rocking a plastic back. Now, with it being plastic, I will say it still feels really solid and really well built, and I think it looks fantastic, especially in this coral color. There are 4 colors available: Sky, which is like a very light blue, Snow, which is white, and then Charcoal, which is black, and then the super dope coral color, which is like a pinkish reddish in person. I think it looks great, but this is a Google Store exclusive. So if you want this color, you will have to order it directly from the Google Store. As far as performance goes, Tensor G2 and 8 gigs of RAM. That means performance on this is going to be flagship level. I had no issues whenever I was testing it. And as far as software goes, it's identical to your flagship siblings, basically any other Pixel phone you're going to find in the lineup. When I was testing this phone, I had my SIM card in it. When I was done testing it, I switched back to my 7 Pro. It was like I was right at home. Feels exactly the same. You love to see it. As far as how Google improved the 7a to justify that $50 price hike over the starting price of the 6a, that also comes down to 3 categories. It would be 4 if you count design language as an improvement. I personally do, but again, that's just personal opinion. Now, the 3 that it did have an improvement on: the addition of wireless charging, a higher refresh rate, and a new camera system, which we'll get into those details as well. So the wireless charging part is self-explanatory. There is now wireless charging on the 7a. It's not fast wireless charging, mind you. It is about as standard and slow as wireless charging can get, but it's convenient and nice to see it if you're the type of person who just likes to wirelessly charge up at night rather than plug in. The refresh rate, game changer. When I was using the 6a last year, I really actually liked that phone, especially for the price point and how good the camera system was. And obviously, I love Google's version of Android, so all around, I thought it was a fantastic phone. But when you bump up to 90 Hertz, which by the way is the same refresh rate that the flagship 7 runs on, this phone feels significantly smoother. So you pair a 90 Hertz refresh rate display with Tensor G2 flagship level performance, this phone performs and feels, from a display perspective, like a flagship level device. So you love to see it. And as far as camera systems go, we're going to get into the details here and talk about some photos later on, but there is now a 64 megapixel wide-angle lens and a 13 megapixel ultra-wide-angle lens, and the setup that is being used here not only is new to what we're seeing on Pixel phones, but it also breaks the tradition of what we've seen on the A series of Pixel devices historically, in that they've been using the same camera system for the last like 3 or 4 generations. And I think it's always a little fair to be skeptical whenever you see a new camera system being used, but at the end of the day, I did, talk myself down. I was like, hey, this is Google, this is the Pixel lineup of smartphones. they're going to find a way to make the photos really good, and wouldn't you know it, the photo quality on the 7A is really, really good. I took this phone with me whenever I went out with some buddies, and needless to say, in my right pocket was the $1,200 iPhone 14 Pro Max, and in my left pocket was the Pixel 7a at $499. And if you have this $500 phone in your pocket, you are more than capable of taking some fantastic photos. So from a photo quality perspective, surprise, surprise, it is Pixel level quality. So that just about sums up the Pixel 7a. It is a great phone, but I will say it's in a little bit of an awkward spot, and not because of the phone itself, more so because of the price point that it comes in at. So let's take a total view of the Pixel lineup as it stands right now, okay? At $349, we have the Pixel 6a, which is still a really solid option, and again, at $350, you're talking a super affordable phone that does bring a lot to the table. Now here comes the 7a, priced at $499. Based on this review and my experience with it, fantastic device. I feel like a lot of people are going to buy this, and you're going to enjoy it, as you should. It's great. But here's the kicker. For $100 more, you're eyeing the Pixel 7, which now you're entering the really well-priced, the really, really well-featured flagship territory, and the Pixel 7 is going to come with its own set of advantages compared to the 7a. First, you're going to have a slightly larger display, 6.1 here, 6.3 inches on the Pixel 7. You're going to have I get it, it's 6 months old, but you're going to have the flagship Google camera experience. The 7 shares the same wide angle and ultra wide angle as the 7 Pro, which is arguably the best camera lineup in the entire Pixel series. And you're going to get some other hardware advantages as well too. So you're going to make a jump from IP67 water and dust resistance here to IP68 on the Pixel 7. And you're also going to have, depending on your opinion, better build materials. So Gorilla Glass 3 on this phone with a plastic back, Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and back of the 7. So all in all, I would say for $100 more, you're getting a lot of great stuff on the 7, not to mention faster wired and faster wireless charging on the 7 as well. You're getting a lot of great stuff on the 7 if you can shell out $100 more. And if you have a phone to trade in, then you could probably get a 7 for below the price of this phone. And I know you could trade in a phone for this one as well, but getting a flagship for the price of the mid-range is, in my opinion, still going to be a better deal. So this is a fantastic phone. Just got to see what the price point will look like down the line. But either way, if you decide to buy it, I think you're going to love it because I loved mine as well. That's it. That's our review over the Pixel 7a. I hope you enjoyed it as always. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.